Let's go. Hello out there. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Um, I don't know if it started yet. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our AutoCrit Live for this week. Today, we are going to be kicking off our Rewrite Reality contest. I have my little logo here in the background. I'll go ahead and make that go. Woo! There we go. Yes, our Rewrite Reality. I know, fancy, huh? Rewrite Reality Writing Challenge. Can you say that 3 times fast? Kind of hard. Rewrite Reality Writing. I don't know. It's like a tongue twister. Anyway, I have Gareth here with me. Say hi, Gareth.
Hello.
Yes. All right. So I know some of you, this is maybe your first challenge that you've ever been with us. So thank you. Our challenges are free to enter. So you don't need to be an AutoCrit member in order to join in with us. If you do want to join in with us anytime, it's going to be this link right here down below. autocrit.com/rewrite-reality-challenge. I'll also go ahead and throw it in the chat. And you can just click on the chat as well. And so that will make it a little bit easier. You can just click that link. I reject your reality and substitute it with my own. Well, that's a little bit of what's going on in this challenge. You know, we get a lot of questions about nonfiction, to be honest. We've done a lot of contests and challenges and courses about genre fiction. We haven't done an awful lot about nonfiction, about reality, to be honest. And it's certainly a part of life. There's a lot of writers in the community that write either nonfiction or memoirs or things like that. And so we thought it would be fun to do a challenge for everybody. Even if this is not your normal genre, it's of course worth it to always practice something new. So let's get into how this is going to work. We're going to ask you to take a story from the news and rewrite it in your own style. And we will give you that story in just a minute. Don't worry, you're not going to just have to come up with one out of the blue. That could get very interesting. No. We have a story specifically for you. But the idea is that we want you to put it in your own point of view. And I do recommend that you try a deep point of view, like try to write it from the standpoint of somebody who might have been involved, which means you'll have to do a little bit inventing, which is why we call it the Rewrite Reality Challenge, because we're not expecting you to necessarily be authentic. You can be inspired by it if you want to go a little bit inventive with it, imaginative with it, as long as I think it keeps the believability. Ultimately, though, it's not going to be our decision. We're going to read the finalist entries and we'll let the audience decide. So you'll just have to keep your entries to 1,000 words. We'll read all of them live on air in a few weeks. And then we will have the audience decide in a live vote. So that is the challenge. Of course, we have prizes. We always have prizes. Prizes are awesome. It's great incentive to get you going. So we do have the prizes. We do have a prize for the grand winner, and as well as a grab bag of prizes just for signing up. So even if you don't make it as one of the finalists, you're still eligible to win some things. So definitely get involved. And like I said, it's good incentive, right? We always need. It's funny. It's like we like to write, but it's always good to have that little extra goodie, of course, right? All right. Yes, the word count limit is 1,000 words. Please stay below that. If you have not signed up yet, don't miss out. It's there below. And you can sign out even if you're watching this and it's not Tuesday, August 8th anymore. You can still sign up. Technically, registration is not going to close until the deadline to actually submit, which I'll get to in just a moment. So if you're the type of person who has found this after the fact, feel free to sign up at any time for sure. All right. Just going through the rules here. Submissions will be done through the AutoCrit writing desk from August 21st through August 25th. That is one reason why you need to sign up. By signing up, you will get a free membership to AutoCrit, one of our free forever accounts, which gives you access to the writing desk. And you're going to be submitting your submission. That sounds redundant, but you're going to be submitting your entry. I'll say that. That's better. Submitting your entry, and the dates will be from August 21st through the 25th. So try to think of it really is the 21st, right? Give yourself some wiggle room in case you want some last minute touches. Don't think of it as the 25th. That's just going to be the range of time, okay? I know how writers are. We love to procrastinate. Can you pick whatever story you want? No, we will tell you the story in just a minute. Yes. Actually, before I do that, I don't want to get to that. That's later. Actually, that's what we're going to do right now. All right, so let me go ahead and switch to the story. Now, I have a few different takes on this story because the purpose is not just to take one specific article. We're going to look at a few different articles. And the nice thing about that is that tells us a little bit of different perspectives you might take on the story automatically, right? Every reporter is going to have a different sort of audience they're writing for, a different sort of perspective. And this is the sort of thing that you're going to want to dial up a lot more, right? Because what we're trying to do is not do a newspaper article. What we're trying to do is really turn it into a narrative. So I want to feel like I'm a part of the action. So let me go ahead and I'll read some of them. And then Gareth, if you want to chime in as we go through this and maybe give some suggestions on, what you think they might want to do in order to fulfill that sort of narrative pitch we're asking for. So it's probably going to be hard to read on your screen because it's pretty small. I'm going to try to zoom in here. But our big story is that there was a girl about a month and a half ago or so that got stuck on a water slide, and her dad had to climb up to get her unstuck. So I'll just go ahead and read this just for the context of the challenge. Aren't dads just the best? A father has gone viral after a video showed him climbing up a water slide to rescue his daughter after she got stuck. So immediately you could see there's a little bit of a perspective being taken here, where the writer did the quotes of the rescue because it wasn't really like the person was any real mortal danger. They just were stuck and they were not particularly happy, right? The father, Andrew Jackson, no relation, I guess, was enjoying the day at Gulliver's World. I don't know. Maybe you can make that, right? It's your choice. Somebody said, can you lie and make stuff up? Absolutely. Yes, you may. You may lie all you want. But keep in mind, for the winner, we'll probably are going to want something fairly believable. If you start going too bananas, I might have to rein that in a little bit. The purpose of this is to create something that people might believe, not something that is a springboard to a fantasy portal mystery or something like that, right? With his family, when his father called for help, naturally, like most dads, Jackson sprang into action and began scaling the water slide until he reached his daughter. In the video, that's going to come into play a little bit more in a minute. A woman can be heard saying, when your daughter gets on a slide, followed by cackling as bystanders watch the rescue mission unfold. Eventually, Jackson and his daughter made it down the water slide with ease. So you can see the perspective on this was fairly relaxed. They didn't try to make it into some sort of grandiose, dramatic moment. On the other hand, one thing I could think about is a character you could take the point of view of is the daughter stuck on the slide, right? Because it might be rather troubling for them to be stuck high up, and their father coming up may come across quite heroic to them. What are some of the things you think of, Gareth? Like if you were going to tackle this challenge yourself, like what might be your approach?
Yeah, it's a real question of perspective. Who is, just like you were saying, which perspective you're going to pick is something for the challenge. It could be again, if you're thinking of this as though you're reading about this event in a memoir, whose memoir is it? Is it the girl on the slide who was trapped? How is she feeling in that moment? Is it the father who launched his rescue bid? Or is it, perhaps even the woman filming? If you imagine, perhaps that's the guy's wife, maybe, and she's cackling and laughing away because she doesn't take this event seriously. But what comes to my mind too is I kind of think about this in a real world sense. Like, if this event was written about in a memoir that I'm reading, then clearly it's meaningful or it's an important event to whoever this person is, whose details I'm reading. So depending on the perspective that I pick, what makes this rather benign, piece of fun happening at a water park turn into something that feels more weighty for them. So, for example, if it was the girl who was stuck on the slide, you would probably now this segues off. I'm sure you're going to talk about this in a little bit, but when it comes to memoirs, how much is embellished and how much is simply our own memories tell us stories that aren't necessarily true. We could remember things that happen from our perspective and not necessarily a completely objective truth of that situation. So the young girl could have been trapped on that slide and literally fearful for her life, and may fill in details where in real life she was actually trapped in a totally enclosed section of the slide and just kind of wedged there. But memory may say, oh, I was hanging over the edge and ready to fall and it was terrifying. And that would then make its way into the memoir to amp the fear up, to turn up the suspense in that scene. And the same applies to all the different people. Like a father going in there, writing about this in a memoir, may try to again, whether consciously or unconsciously, kind of embellish the situation to turn himself into a hero. He's the real hero that stepped up and saved a life and scrambled up this water slide. So that's what I would be thinking about. That's kind
Mhm.
of throwing around in my mind.
Yeah, of
And
course.
for this challenge, of course, I would likely be the embellisher for the purposes of this challenge. No matter which character or which person I picked, I would embellish it or amp it up because that's kind of what we're going for. I think a lot of the time with memoirs as well. You want them to be dramatic. And you just don't outright lie, I guess, about the whole
Yeah.
scenario.
No, it's true. I mean, one thing you could think about, I like this, where she just wanted to show her dad she cared. She wasn't stuck at all, right? That's possible embellishment, right? Did they do this as some sort of
Mm.
test? We don't know the background of the characters, too. Is this somebody who might actually be a little bit hydrophobic and was trying to face their fear, and then it went really sideways for them? Or I guess not sideways or whatever. All right, so let's look at another perspective. I have 5 different perspectives of the same story because this went viral. You might be like, "Wow, this is rather a mundane story." See, the thing is that that's something to consider too, right? When you have a story like this that maybe seems not that riveting per se, like it seems kind of maybe matter of fact, and it goes viral, then you want to ask yourself, "Well, why? Like, why are people so captivated by the story?" Right? Here's another one. A British father has been captured on video climbing up a theme park's water slide, blah, blah, blah. But here we have earlier this month as the child was celebrating their 6th birthday. So we've got a little bit more of a background. We have a time of when this happened. Sienna, we have the name of it. Sienna was upset and was crying on the boat, and we could see she was frightened. The staff had called for help over the radio, but it was taking too long. This is Andrew Reese's, so I'm guessing that's his name, not Andrew Jackson. Uh, but again, you can see how this goes different directions depending on who's reporting it, right? The sun was beaming down on her and she was scared. I like that juxtaposition, right? It's a bright sunny day, but yet she's really nervous. Her dad suggested climbing up the water slide, and I said he can't because he will slide back down. But Andrew, being Andrew, he went up to save our daughter. So now we're getting a little bit of character work, right? And we have a little bit of a conflict. We have the wife is like, is that really a great idea? And the dad's like, yes, I'm going to do it. And that's really funny. Of course, we have
I
other
think
things going on
also
here,
him being fueled by where are the staff? Why are the staff not doing
right?
anything?
And that's another thing you have as a staff member. What if they have like a very strict policy at this park, which often they do, and it's like, by no means can you ever leave your post, and so the person is there having to watch all this take place very awkwardly. That could be another perspective you have, right? Um, he was our hero, and Sienna was so pleased her dad had gone up to rescue him or her, and there they are going down the slide. I mean, one of the reasons why, of course, a moment like this got captured is because it's kind of a heartwarming moment that the guy is going through all this effort, and it was, of course, captured on video. And TikTok being what it is, it went viral. So that's a lot of fun. Here's another one. Um, a hilarious TikTok video. So this person's definitely thinking of it from a cute sort of perspective. Captures the moment a heroic dad was forced to clamber up a water slide to help his daughter after she got stuck. And then a 6-year-old daughter, Andrew Reese, was branded Dad of the Year. Each slide has a bump halfway down, which can cause the dinghies to feel as though they have briefly launched into the air before they continue sliding down the bottom. So apparently that was where she valleyed, as they call it. Um, while Andrew had planned to watch Little Sienna from the sidelines as she enjoyed herself on the 19th of June, he ended up having to get stuck in himself after a dinghy got stuck midway through the ride. And this image of him scampering up is a rather humorous sort of one. So I could definitely see somebody taking that sort of humorous take. But to your point, right? You can embellish it. You could change how it is. It could be in the dad's mind. He's thinking of it as more grandiose than it actually is, because that's in his mindset. Or again, maybe this is more difficult for him. You could give him some disability or some reason why this would be difficult. Dad was waiting to use his Spider-Man moves all his life. I like that little that comment that somebody made on TikTok. And again, that shows you a way you can comment on these sort of things, make it your own. I deliberately picked something that was a little bit straightforward because that gives you more room to embellish. That gives you a little bit more room to show specifically your writing style. When it comes to talking about everyday life, often it's these little moments that are meaningful to us. And you could say, well, would this moment be meaningful to us? Well, just assume it was, right? To somebody in the situation. From that point of view, this was a very meaningful moment. Why? And then write to that. That's the best way of handling this, in my opinion. All right, Gareth, I like this.
You see, good questions there. Yeah.
Why did he go up the slide and not the ride's framework like a ladder, or go around and take her from behind? Yeah, that's a good question. I also like this one. Before being detained by park staff for violating policy. I mean, yes, I imagine this is against park policy. And Autocrit does not endorse going up water slides in theme parks or breaking park policy. But yeah, it's an interesting situation because yeah, there is some risk, right? There's a risk of injury because you're not really supposed to do that. There's a risk of getting in trouble, making the problem worse. Fair enough. It's a little bit of
It'll be kind of,
conflict. And look,
how it ends in the context of a memoir. It's like, your kind of closing image for that scene is him on his lying on his front with park staff pinning him down, and just saying, totally worth it.
right? I mean, and then that's another one, right? You could have park security. This is the guy's first day on the job, and it's like, as my first day on the job, I'm like, well, I can't arrest this guy. Everybody's cheering, and like, how do I enforce the policy? That's really awkward. All of that sort of thing. Yeah, for sure. I like this. It's much more dudely that way. I mean, yes, that's a perspective you could take, right? You could even have the wife be like, "Can you just go down from the other side?" And he's like, "No, I gotta do it this way." Although I will say, in his defense, going down the other way, you could possibly hit the child, and that might not be great. So I'll defend Andrew here. All right. But
Maybe
again,
he gets stuck. I'm sure we've all been there at some point as kids. When there's about six people all stuck in the middle of a slide because somebody got trapped.
there's another one. Yes, an older brother laughing his butt off. Yes, it could be somebody who's like, "I told you not to go on that slide." Yes. Here's another one, which is a father scaled a slippery water slide to rescue his daughter who was stuck close to the top in a TikTok video shared by Emma Reese. Okay, so Emma, and this also has Andrew Jackson. It's funny, but I think his name is Andrew Reese. But Emma Reese, though maybe not, because I don't know if they're married. Maybe that's not the case. So we have different stories. So you get your choice. There's a little bit of a cipher going on with this character. Um, but Emma actually posted the video, so that's something else. So it's not just a random bystander who posted this video and went on TikTok. She did, and that could be part of the story, right? It could be that the story is about their debate of putting up this TikTok video, and how does Andrew feel about it? Is he really excited? Is he embarrassed? Something to do. The best Spider-Man impression. Yep. And this says her post has already been viewed 4.6 million times. So I don't know. Maybe there's something that comes of that. Maybe the water park reaches out to them and they become spokesmen. I don't know what would happen in a situation like this. And I'll have one final perspective here. A super dad, hold on, has been praised after he rescued his daughter. And so this says Andrew Jackson 38, his partner Emma Reese. So I think we finally got our answer. They are not married. And so the other people made an assumption. But we got a nice little picture of them out of context here. Uh, I could see Sienna had started to cry and was getting panic. Andrew said, I'm going to have to walk up there and get her. In the video footage of the moment, Andrew could be seen gripping the slides of the water slide and placing his feet on the edge to avoid the water, and Emma can be heard laughing. People nearby could be heard cheering him on in support. All right, so there you go. There is your prompt. That is what we're going to be asking you to do, and you have a couple of weeks to do so. And as Gareth was saying, the important thing is going to be, yes, thank you. Yes. Yes, I noticed that too. Uh, of course, Jim would point that out. But they were probably chasing social media fame. I mean, that's a cynical take, but yeah, maybe. What if this whole thing was a setup? Fair enough, right? Ultimately, however you portray them, we are going to say, this is an exercise. We're not actually trying to make any statements about these people or about the park or anything like that. We're just having a little bit of fun with the story and getting inspired by it. So you can use any of that as inspiration and riff on it. Make it, like I said, imagine why it would matter to somebody to put this in a memoir beyond just the fact it's a cute little story. Like maybe make it a little bit more meaningful to them, and then go ahead and write to that as well. Yes, you have to use the story as the starting point, and you have to stay within 1,000 words. That's another point. How would the daughter feel about them posting the video? Yeah, is it an embarrassing moment for her? Is she happy that her dad was there? All very good questions. Perspective matters, right? It's all, what goes on
Yeah,
in
so
this.
so many angles, and I would definitely approach this one from, again, rewinding back to the kind of memoir angle. Is like, why would this be in there? Why this particular story being included in the memoir? So many angles, depending on the person that you pick and the reasons why. They could be thinking back to this as you're reading their story. Is for example, like, let me tell you about the time I went viral, and it's saying that 4.6 million views, kind of what happened there. And what would happen in this kind of section of a memoir be, let me tell you about the time I went viral. And then you just kind of unfold the story of that day at the water park. And here's what happened. It doesn't matter whose perspective you're coming from, but, that's the way you would do it. Step into that, then dramatically unfold the event and tell what happened after that. And for the purposes of this exercise, I think if you went with that angle, you would then come back from the story to be, what was the results of going viral? How did that, was it positive or negative? You can kind of fill in the blanks there yourself as a creative exercise, and see how you do. Is it I think what we'll be looking for in the end is, does the storytelling feel convincing? Does it feel real? Does it feel meaningful?
Can you change the time frame? Sure, I don't see why not. I went ahead and hopefully this will work. Those should be all of the links that I used. I think some of them got combined together though, so I apologize about that. So let me see if I can do that again. But I just want to go ahead and give credit where credit is due for all of those different articles that I just referenced. And that is also where you can get some inspiration as well. All right. So that being said, you've got your challenge. Keep it under 1,000 words, please. And yeah, I would like to talk about some other things going on within the AutoCrit world. So we have Fantasy Club. Fantasy Club is going to be tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also have the Horror Club. That is tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Gareth, what are we covering in the Horror Club tomorrow?
We're going to be talking about talking, dialogue.
Talking about talking. I like it. Scary talking, right? Scary talking. We do have a couple of workshops this month, so if you want to check those out, we have Unmasking Mystery, and we have the Heartbeat of Romance. Heartbeat of Romance is going to be tomorrow evening, and if you'd like to sign up for that, I went ahead and put the link in the chat. Both of these workshops are going to go through how to plot your story, how to make all the different beats and things like that. I'm going to quickly put them on the screen. Here's the romance plot one, if you want to check that out. you may want to pause so you can write it down. And then here's the mystery one. Ba-ba-da-ba. Yeah, so we'll be going through the beat sheets, as we call it, all of those key moments, how to make them work, how to make them land the best, how you can use the AutoCreate Inspiration Studio for ideas for that as well. All right. We also have our heroes and villains workshop coming up where we'll talk about characters. Talked a lot about perspective in this memoir, this writing challenge, Rewrite Reality Challenge. But characters, of course, are really the window to the soul when it comes to a book. We relate to characters more than almost anything else. And Heroes and Villains Workshop will discuss heroes and villains. So check that out if you'd like. The nice thing about all the workshops is it does include personalized feedback. So whatever you submit for the workshop, we'll actually take a look at. We'll give you some pointers, and that way you can, you know if you're really putting into practice some of the things we were talking about. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Besides, of course, we always have our accountability club every Monday at 11 a.m. as well. We were asking, will we send an email summary? Yeah, if you signed up for the challenge, we will send out an email later this week, and it will give you the insight as to what the story was that we chose. Of course, you can always come back and watch the replay of this live stream as well, of course. All right. Any other questions about the challenge before I wrap things up today? All right. Sounds good. All right. I will see you all around. Thanks again, Gareth, for joining me this afternoon.
You're welcome. I would say for everybody as well. I think it's pretty good this one that we have an actual video of the event as well. You know, that's something very, very helpful to run off because you're getting a kind of outside perspective on the reality of the situation, and really play with that. Play with that. Think about how different perspectives in the moment. The father's point of view, literally from through his own eyeballs as he's scrambling up that slide, is a lot different from the view of a bystander way down in the background. You don't pick who you're going to go with. Get in the moment.
Exactly. Exactly. As Jim says, this is the challenge of writing. We have to look from different perspectives. That's the whole idea. Walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. I love this, though. I always talk about Tammy writing like Andy Weir, and now she's read The Martian and she understands why. Yep. Those short paragraphs. That's fantastic. Any tips on writing narrative nonfiction? Well, it's funny you ask because, as you imagine, with all this challenge going on, we may have a lot of questions about that. Stay tuned because next week our live stream is going to be all about that. It's going to be tips and tricks for doing this. So I recommend go ahead and get started, get your feet wet, and then we'll be talking next week, and it'll help you polish up your challenge entry, give you some new ideas, give you a little boost along the way, right? So check it out next Tuesday, 1 p.m. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the stream so you get updated for all of our upcoming streams. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. You have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.